Welcome to the Growth Bridge. I'm Ivo-Castillo, your host here in Miami, and this podcast is for entrepreneurs and leaders with a strong tie with Latin America who want to understand how Anglo founders think about growth, marketing, leadership, and decision making, and how to apply their mindset in your own business. Today, I'm excited to have Dawn Jordan Jones. She is the founder of 2911 Media. Hello, Dawn. How are you?
I'm great, Ivo. How are you?
Good and great. Our first question would be, what is your background, right?
Okay.
And why 2911 Media?
Well, my background, I have about 30 years of sales and marketing experience. Started in sales in insurance sales.
Mm-hmm.
It was rough. Did that for 3 years, transitioned over to working for a radio station. Some family, parents, or friends of my parents
Mm-hmm.
started a radio station in my hometown, knew I had sales experience, and said, "Hey, can you come over and help us just part time?" And I got bit by the radio bug and fell in love with it. Was in radio for 23 years. Had a very successful career, just lots of fun. Radio on the sales side is more like, it's kind of like show business, but on the back end. So you get access and get to see all the stars and everything. And I've seen quite a few, but you still are out there and you're in control of your own destiny. The more you hustle and sell, the more you make. So I absolutely loved it. Had a great career, made some amazing friends that I'm still friends with today through my time in radio. Then shifted more to doing more just sales. But what was happening is because I was on the, in marketing and sales, especially at a radio station, because I work with small mom and pop businesses all the way up to like Pepsi and McDonald's and ARP and State Farm. So it was the full gamut. And when you work with those, you're really understanding the marketing and how they can put themselves out to marketplace. I'm not just selling you advertising, but I'm helping you develop your marketing plan. So in going through all that time, every board, I've always been one to give back to community service. That's how I'm built. I always give back to the community. And so in every board that I was on, they were always putting me on the marketing committee. And then I have an eye for what'll look decent and right and appeal to consumers to draw them in to participate in either an event or a business. And I was always doing that. And then it hit me, wait a minute, I get paid for this. So I self-trained myself, built my first website in 2001. For the church I was attending at the time, and then just started doing logos. Matter of fact, the logo that I created for them, they're still using a full 25 years later. I am, and then I just started doing, training myself on Photoshop, and then Canva came around, and oh my gosh, it's amazing. But I'm trained in, Photoshop, InDesign, all the Adobe Creative Suite. Do a little bit of dabbling with video editing, but I leave that to my son because he's a genius at it. I know enough to get by. So that's kind of how I got into the business. Once I realized, oh, I can start paying for this, I can get paid for this, I started noticing that maybe this is a good side hustle because I always kept the sales job. So one day I'm at work and get this revelation, so to speak, of 2911 Media. My life scripture is Jeremiah 29:11 that speaks about God has plans for you. He has promised for hope and a future and not to harm you. And so that's my life scripture that has gotten me through some very dark times. So he just dropped 2911 Media. I wrote on a notepad, circled it, stuck it back in my drawer. Didn't think anything about it. 5 days later, I was in a situation where I was like, you know what? I'm starting my own business. And bought the domain name and had a website up within 48 hours. And that's how the name came to be. So it's honoring my passion of doing all the things from a marketing standpoint, but that's also letting God and giving honor to Him for where He has brought me in. It's His business. It's not mine. I'm just a steward of it.
And thinking about business that you serve, what are the biggest challenges the business face today when it comes to marketing?
A couple things. One thing I learned in my time in radio was that a lot of businesses will start out and they'll have the plan, they'll have the business, they'll have the product. They go all out and making sure they have everything to produce their widget. But the one thing they never ever budget for or rarely budget for was marketing. This isn't a build it and they will come type industry or world. There are too many competitors out there. Somebody is doing the same thing that you're doing, and you have to market yourself. Unless you have the only of something or the best since sliced bread of something, you have to market yourself. And so that is the one thing I'm noticing that people really, really that's just a step that no one has counseled them. No one has come beside them and saying, hey, this is what you need to do. That has not happened. And so because of that, they're not planning for it. And then when they're like, well, I'm open and I'm not getting traffic. Well, you're not marketing. You might market and share information with all your friends, but in order for you to have a sustainable and growing business, you need to get beyond your friend circle. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is a lot of people disconnect what's pretty. There's a disconnection between what's pretty and what works.
Mhm.
So somebody can do something that looks really great, but if it's disconnected from your brand and what your brand, your core message is, it sends a disconnect to consumers. And then they're like, well, I don't understand it, or it's not the same that I thought it was. So, and they exit stage left. So I think those are the two biggest things is not budgeting and then not staying true to their brand.
Correct. Do they usually understand the real problem?
Typically, they don't, but if they're in my space, by the time we're done working together, they do. I'm a trainer at heart, and I absolutely love even when I was in radio, I was a person where we'd get some new software, they throw me on it, I'd learn it inside and out, and then I would simplify it down and train the entire sales team. It just made it easier. I have my brain works like that. I don't know why, but I look at something, figure out, all the ins, outs, and everything, and then I'm able to distill it and train somebody else. So if I'm working with a client, I talk to them not like they're 2-year-old, but I talk to them like they're 2-year-old, so they get it and understand it. Because I know as a business owner, and I'm one myself, there are so many things hitting you from all different places, and especially if you're a business owner and you have employees and you've got a physical product you're selling and a brick and mortar, there's lots of things that can impact that, and it's coming after you, and you just don't have the time. And so what I do is try to simplify it and get them to understand the why, because
Mhm.
that's how I operate. If you explain to me the why I've got to do something, then it's easier for me to wrap my head around it. I was on a team with a nonprofit, and we did an exercise about what things were important to the team. And so it helped the team be able to interact better with each other, but also helped the people that were leading the team know how they needed to present things to their subordinates. Great exercise. Um, 90% of our team said they needed to know the why. And that was mind blowing to me because it's like you've got a group of 14 people and 90% of us said we need to know the why. So that was a signal to the CEO, lead with the why and don't have everybody on board. And so that's what I try to get people to do is I get them to understand the why, the mechanics, the psychology of marketing, because it is a psychology. You have to walk people through the process in order from them to decide who you or know who you are to make a decision to make a purchase. And so people understand that why, then they're equipped with the information to be able to go and market their company.
And for our audience to understand, what kind of services or business do you work with?
Well, I work primarily with mission-driven businesses and leaders. So it's people that have a purpose behind their why. And so is that. I work with a lot of nonprofits and work with a lot of ministries in doing that. But I've also worked with, I've worked the full gamut from dealing with somebody who has there's one young lady that I worked with who had her great aunt's uh, biscuit recipe,
Okay.
and so we built out our website and worked on her marketing and it was and she attended my church, so we kind of worked together. We knew each other and worked together. So we did that. So it's a lot of small businesses, a lot of solopreneurs or micro businesses that I work with, but I'm also working with larger entities and organizations as well.
And we're talking about a problem, right? To
Mhm.
understand the budget for marketing. And is there any other thing that most business doing wrong?
That's a loaded question. I wouldn't say doing wrong. There may be a better way of doing it.
Okay.
Um, y- I'll just use for example, some people are on social media and they're not consistent. That's wrong. You
Yeah.
have to be consistent on your social media, and you have to be consistent for a couple reasons. One, there are more people out there doing what you do. So if you stop doing it, those other people take up that space and then you've lost potential customers. That's one. Two, the algorithms recognize somebody who does something consistently. They don't tell you that, but I was in a challenge with a trainer to post 30 videos over 30 days on Instagram and YouTube.
Hmm.
I don't market on YouTube. But I was like, I'm gonna jump in on this. I'm gonna get consistent. I'm gonna do it. One, it forced me to be consistent in recording the videos. Now, I don't like to be on camera. I really do not. And so I created something where it saw me handwriting, in a journal. What I noticed for my numbers for those accounts that I was doing that were inching up and I was getting followers because the algorithm rewards consistency and it's not paid. It's organic growth. And that's what I noticed that my message is being exposed to people. I'm working with a team, a company. I've known the lady from the team for about 2 years, and we're working in partnership on some things. And we were on a call, and she's like, "Hey, I saw your notes from the brand desk. That was cool." And she was not following me on YouTube, so it was showing up
Yeah.
in front of people that's a normal thing to do. So that it's got to be consistent. And then you've got to just be in alignment. There are people like, oh, I like this color, so I'm going to use this. I mean, I was working with one person and they were a therapist and they wanted red in their logo design because that was their favorite color. And I was like, yeah, we can't do red for therapists. It signals the wrong thing. It signals
Yeah.
stop, and anger, and as a therapist, that's not what you wanna that's not the signs you wanna put out. So, it's just education for them to understand because they always think, "Oh, it's my favorite this. Oh, it's my favorite that."
Yeah.
No, fortunately, my favorite color is purple, and purple represents trust, loyalty, royalty, so those are things in alignment with my business, thankfully. Otherwise, I would just have to do what I have to do and suck up and not have my favorite color in my logo. But yeah.
And you mentioned something very important that is consistent in the social media and
Mhm.
posting and show up. How actually turn that content into leads? Because it's hard
It is.
because it will the time pass by and you don't see any results from putting content.
It's difficult because it's hard to find that exact magic whatever. What I always try to share with my clients is one, it's the consistency and it's not going to happen overnight. Now, if you're using paid advertising, it can happen a lot faster.
Yeah.
But if you're using just organic where you're just posting, you have to be strategic about your post. You have to study your analytics. So when you're posting, when are your people on? When are they scrolling and looking at things? What's the engagement? Are they liking it and keeping it going? Or are they liking it and making a comment? Or are they sharing it? Those are things you got to take a really hard look at to understand the back end of what's happening. Because at the end of the day, it's a machine and it's a tool that you're going to use to bring business people into your business. I believe that what I am seeing now and what is very big is storytelling. That's what's bringing people in. And there are ways to tell a story about a shoe store very easily. I don't know why a shoe store popped in my head, but there are ways to do that to be able to gain engagements. There are tricks that people can do to be able to, in social media to you're seeing a lot of like, they'll say I have a big, huge blank something on screen and then, check comments below. Well, what that's doing is course, the hook is bringing them in. Of course, they want to see, so they go check the comments below. The time spent on that post is being ramped up versus just looking at it and keeping going. Now you've got to go through all the comments and look for that information. That is engagement.
Yeah,
And
that's
engagement is what's rewarded on social media. Now you have to have a good product. You can't have shoddy stuff out here and think, oh, you can master all those things. But what you have to do is be compelling enough and talking to the one, you have to determine who your your avatar is or who your person is that you want to, or your archetype that you're going after. And then talk to that person like you're talking to them one on one, because your goal is to solve a problem. You're there as a guide walking them through the process. And so that's how you have to handle your marketing. It's not an overnight success. It takes time, but consistency and time and having the right message to speak to them where they are right then. If you're solving a problem, you have to let them know how you can solve that problem and then how they can get to you.
Great question. Great answer too.
It was a great question.
When a lead comes in a business, where do you think the most business lose opportunity?
What I have learned and what I've seen is response time. When
Response.
somebody is when somebody is really needing something and when it gets bad enough for somebody to reach out because of something, let's just say if it's a service, when it gets bad enough for me to have to reach out for a service and then the response time takes a day or two, I've gone on to somebody else, because if I'm reaching out, I need help now. There are tools in place where somebody calls, like I utilize Go High Level. I use
Yeah.
High Level for my marketing. Amazing tool. It has a back end where you can have a AI voice agent that
Yeah.
will answer your phones for you and answer questions for you and then route the call to wherever it needs to go. If somebody is calling and trying to get a hold of something for a service and they have to leave a message, chances are they're going to hang up and call the next person in line that they have the information for. Because when people want answers, they want answers now or want to talk to somebody now. I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing might be people are there are so many options available to people now, especially with social media. I can go on, scroll on social media, and I can find 10 people in seconds that do lawn care. And I don't know why I'm stuck on lawn care, probably because I was out my yard yesterday taking care of weeds. But I could find, and then I got like 2 ads last night. I'm like, how'd you know? I didn't have my phone with me.
Yeah, they know where the dream
But I'm
is,
like,
you know? You
but
dream something, they already know. You woke up and the algorithms show you up.
right. It's just like, God, it's scary. But I can go through 10 people. If I call and leave messages, it's nothing for me to go to the next one, and the next one, and to the next one until I get what I need. And then for them to be thorough and transparent and not, because I'm a former salesperson and I'm hard to sell. I'm really hard to sell. Like the people that come door to door to my house, I don't want any of this because I'm a former salesperson. I know every single trick. I won't say trick, but every tactic to get somebody to get past I overcome objections. And if somebody is being a slick salesperson to me, I spot it right off and I tell them I'm a former salesperson. No means no. There's no need here. And there was one, I'll tell this really quick story. This
Yeah.
guy came, pest control guy, comes out, and I'm in a brand new community, like brand new, all homes are new. So of course, that's gold to these service providers. Oh my gosh, a whole community. I was the first person on my street of that community, the first person to move in. Then we had somebody move in across the street from me a month later. And then the month I moved in April, June or May, the guy across the street. And then June, it was just like everybody showed up. This guy comes to my door and he's just like, yeah, I was talking next door to your neighbor. We just sold them and da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, they've been here 3 weeks.
Hmm.
And they were basically trying to tell me that the neighbor has been using them for a while
Yeah. And you're
and to check with me because I might be interested. We have said hi, and it's like a neighbor 2 doors down, so we're not like right next to each other, but we've said waved, and that's it. So they said, "Come check with me," and like they don't know me, and so you've set up essentially. You think I'm a fall for that, and I was just like, "No, they didn't. I'm the first one on the street.
yeah.
I know everybody." Because I made a point, I'm like that neighborly person. Like people start moving in, I go over and introduce myself. Hey, welcome to the neighborhood. And it was hilarious. But it stopped in dead in its tracks. It's just like, people want transparency. People want honesty. If I'm going to spend money with you, I need to know that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. You're not trying to pull one over on me. And I think that is the other thing, especially from a service provider. Be transparent. And if you mess it up, own it. I was working with somebody last night and we have had some challenges. We're installing, he's has a school an online school that she does associates all the way up to doctorates in for ministry and for theology. So it's not. I guess it's a seminary, and so she wanted to install a back end, become more modern, and install a back end online portal for the school. And we've had some challenges because of the software, and then her site was taken down by the previous person that had done it because they were mad that she didn't call them and that she called me, but I was referred by a friend. And so we've had some problems. And then when we got to it, and I own it, it was just like, hey, I'm having this problem and this is why. Like her site went down. We had to do some major triage to get her site. Fortunately, we were able to get it back up. But the guy took the site down, deleted the pages off of WordPress. We were able to get into the back end of our hosting and restore it. Which was, learning for me because I was like, oh, I didn't know we could do that. Especially with that because I'm not really great. I don't work with cPal that much, but we were able to get it done. But I owned it. And I think that's what's made me probably helped me maintain my clients that I do have. And also when people are referring me, because about 95% of my business has been referral in the 10 years. When the people are referring me, they know my character. But then that goes back to me being a steward of my business. It's not my business. I'm just stewarding it for God. So I want to make him look good. So
Yeah. And now you mentioned that about referral. How do you currently generate your own clients?
I have been extremely fortunate that probably the 10 years I've been in business, 7 of those I've always had a full time job. So the business was just kind of, I was doing things and we were generating business, and it was kind of, this, I guess you could look at it as kind of a side hustle.
Hmm.
The 2 years after I got laid off from my last sales job, I did it full time, but I had a pretty substantial client that maintained everything, but I was still getting referrals then. I've never been one. I've always been a behind the scenes chick. Like, I don't want to be in the limelight. I don't wanna be out in front of people. That's just not, that's not who I am, which is ironic, thinking of some of the things growing up. It's just like I was always out in front, but I'm like, I don't like to be out front. So, and then in the last year, have just really been, but I've been very fortunate. There are business I will go after. There's a company that I work with that I contract for that I just saw a posting in a newsletter and sent the information, and we won the contract, so I've gone after that. What I am now doing is, what I'm noticing is that by consistently, really consistently posting and keeping the message the same thing, which is about branding and understanding that space, I'm starting to see more people being drawn in to kind of take a peek behind the curtain and say, okay, what is this all about? Because I don't see anybody really promoting that in a fashion that really speaks to the core of it. I also think because of the type of business we do and the type of businesses we speak to, I speak to those individuals. I'm not trying to talk to everybody.
Yeah. That's
So if I know who I'm talking to, the message is for that. And I trust that the message, when it reaches them, it will land and make a difference. And that'll make them move toward wanting to call. But yeah, we've been a little busy over here
that's nice.
as of late. It's a good busy. It's a good busy. I'm definitely expanding the team, so that's a great situation to be in right now.
And that comes this question. What do you think is your business has a bottleneck right now?
Probably me. I have been challenged my entire career to allow others to operate and do what they do. I'm pretty proficient at the stuff that I do. So it's one of those, in the time it takes me to teach you how to do this, I could have had it done. And so I'm been that one to always let me just do it. I'll just go ahead and do it. I am now in the process of training my son actually to start doing some of those things. And as I'm thinking through and ideating, because I have online business partners named Gabe, which is Claude. As we're ideating and going back and forth and talking, I was like, wait a minute, EJ could do this, because there was something very tedious. It was a repeatable thing, but like, especially with the school that I'm working with, that I've got to get all our courses uploaded. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to basically hand it over to him, give him a template, video, go through a couple with him, and then let him knock them out. So I think it's me thinking I've got to do it all. And there isn't. The good thing about it is there are so many things out there available to entrepreneurs that they don't have to do it all. I would say the first thing is check with the SBA in your city
Mm-hmm.
because they may have resources, sometimes free.
Mm-hmm.
Check with the county to see if they have any resources. The contract that we have now is with a company in Cleveland, Ohio. And this is a unique situation. I've never heard of this, but I'm thinking, well, if they have it here, maybe they've got someplace else I just didn't know. But what the county does is small business owners will come to them. They give them a grant for business services. It's like, okay, I know how to make widgets and that's it. I don't know bookkeeping. I don't know HR. I don't know marketing. The county gives them a grant. They take the grant, they bring it to this organization that I work with, and then we surround them with all the expertise that they need for their business. So they're not in it on their own and they can focus on doing the main thing, which is what they're called to do, what they're purposed to do. And then we support them with all the business services that for their business to run smoothly. And then once they get through that block of hours that the grant covers, and they can choose to stay on board or move forward or, or go on their own. So there may be sources within the county. There's lots of training online where if you don't know how to do something and you don't feel you have the resources to have help, reach out. There are lots of training online. There's a organization called Allison, ALISON.com. It is free. It has a gajillion. I found out about them in 2012. And I just went back in and because in 2012, I put in like something about branding because, you can take free courses and they're free. I was like, oh, I can get up to speed because I was shifting more from not really wanting to be in sales, but wanting to be really planted in marketing. And they had a smattering of branding courses back then. Now I checked just the other day because I do tutoring online and I was trying to share this with one of my students and it had a full blown certificate in branding that could be earned through the platform. Lots of stuff with AI. And that is the other thing. They are not using AI in their business. They're going to miss the boat and they will be left behind. They talk about AI is replacing people. No, AI is not replacing people. AI is replacing people who are choosing not to adopt AI. The early adopters, those people who are utilizing it, they will be just fine. But the people are like, I don't want to use it. I don't know nothing about it. I mean, and I've seen it. I don't get it, I don't understand it, well, then you're gonna be left behind. And if you're a business owner and not utilizing it, it's just not. It's here, it's been here for 50 plus years. It's not going anywhere. So the best thing is utilize it and use it to streamline your business. I cannot tell you the hours upon hours upon hours of time that utilizing AI has helped me.
Is there any business using the AI effectively?
Oh gosh, there are tons. Let's see. There are tons of businesses using it effectively. The person that comes to mind is the person whose organization I got my certification through. Her
Mhm.
name is Alicia Little. She's considered the queen of AI, and she is the co-founder of AI Innovations. How she uses it, I really would just like to be a fly on the wall or just sit next to her for 24 hours and watch what she does on a daily basis. She has agents set up in AI AI agents that are set up that will pull certain amount of information that will allow her to just turn around information on a daily basis in a newsletter that she posts that basically it runs at 6 in the morning. By the time she's done with her morning routine, she comes out, boom, this thing is ready to go, copy paste. And she's probably using, I know she's using high level. So it's curating that information and getting it out into all her platforms. And all it is a couple clicks of a button, it's done. Before we used to have to sit down and ideate and then write and then proof and then create the graphic and all this. Now we were on training last week and we had it was a Luma Labs, which is a AI website, and I dropped in one picture and generated 30 headshots. And then the test is I show my son, does it look like me? He goes, oh my gosh. And I said, here, use this picture, but put me in my brand colors and then switch up my hairstyle and switch up my poses. 30 pictures
Correct.
so I don't have to go pay for a photo shoot.
Yeah.
So that's money in my pocket, saves me time of getting dressed, having multiple shoots. And when you're doing those things effectively and consistently, again, it's back to consistency of here, this is how I show up. This is what I offer.
Correct. And what is one thing that business owner can fix this month to improve their growth?
Incorporate AI, find a way. And then here's the crazy part. You can go to AI, go to Claude, explain your entire Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot, whatever you choose to use. Go to it. If you're using it already, then it already has some business sense. If you're not, upload everything you can about your business, your website, your bio, everything, and then tell it, act as my business advisor because it's all about the prompt. That's why a lot of people are like, it doesn't work for me because you're giving it garbage and it's giving you garbage back. So you have to tell it how to act. You're training it. It's like you're training a dog. So you have to say, act as a business expert with 20 years of experiences working with small businesses. Give me a roadmap or a plan or an idea, whatever you want it to do. Be very specific. Do it in very short sentences. Then you ask it, does it need to know anything else from you? Because if you ask if it needs anything else, it will come back with questions that will help them drill down and then tell them to go do the job. And I kid you not, the stuff I have got, my business is where I'm at right now, right to this day, because of stuff I've gotten from ideas that it's learned me so much when we're talking about something, we're like, oh, let's pull this together. And then it'll come back with a clarifying question because I train my AI platforms to ask me, let's think outside the box. Let's not think like everybody else. And I trained it and it comes back, well, have you thought about this? Well, you could do this. Or how about this? We do this. And I was like, whoa. Now, I probably would have thought about it maybe 3 months down from now. But now this is pushing me forward faster because I've got basically an assistant that is always looking out and giving me that view to the next level because I want the business to grow and to continue to grow because we're doing legacy work over here. So,
And our last question, what is your mindset?
my mindset. That could go a whole bunch of different ways. My my mantra in business has always been if I help enough people get where they want to be, I will get where I want to be. It's always about service to others because I believe that's the reason I was placed on this earth was to serve. And because of that, ultimately that will come back. I was on the phone with Ashley, one of my mentors today. And we were talking about something. She's just like, she was talking about a situation we're working on together and something had popped up with an event we've got coming up. And she goes, I always try to make space for people. And she goes, you know that, right? And I was like, I'm a witness. You made space for me back in 2010. And I have an agency that's doing what it's doing successfully because you gave space to me in 2010. And so it's always about service, always.
Don, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. So appreciated this chat.
Thank you, everybody. See you next time.